I come from India. I come from the city of Mumbai. You see that image on the left side? That's every day in Bombay. There are 20 million people who live in the city, which is the size of, I think, the population of the whole of the Netherlands. And they live on a tiny island. So you can imagine the densities that we are actually talking about. I teach at an architecture college. So I'm mainly involved with students. I have seen, and this kind of students that we've been getting, come from a very, I guess we are a fairly rich part of town. So the first thing that we do with them is that we, show them another side of the city that they've never probably ever seen.
Or dared to go to.
Yeah. You just shake them up, completely. And they get traumatized for a while, cry a little. After that, they begin to empathize. And there is a new kind of formation that happens within them, I think. And that is actually, I really think, what architecture education should be about. A transforming of the self through an engagement with somebody outside. We would put a group of students together, a group of 40 students, and then they were involved with actually going on site, walking in the slum areas, talking to people, identifying communities, finding out what kind of work they are involved in. We also had to evolve a realistic plan for the redevelopment of Dharavi, because that's what the slum dwellers wanted. And these are all home-based industries, so they have a network that work together. Sometimes entire streets are involved in making of jeans. Somebody stitches it, then in the next house puts the buttons, the next house packages it, and at the other end, a kind of truck comes and takes it away. And we then came up with these designs. Okay? And we came up with not just one, we came up with many. We took many different areas within Dharavi, each within a different kinds of community system, and we evolved different typologies, different urban structures for each of them, and showed how they could all plug in together to form the larger fabric of Dharavi.
Because we worked a lot in the craft sector, which is in this developmental space, where we are looking at people who are coming out of poverty, in terms of self-help, to skill them, to develop ideas and so on. One of them is the craftsmen themselves, who are recipients of training from the design side, who engage with designers and figure solutions that are appropriate for themselves. And there are strategies that are embedded into it, which is what they wouldn't possibly be able to do themselves, because they do not have the exposure to the world that the designers are bringing to the thing, to have the markets that their products would address. I think what we have lost in education today is the ability to make. So for me, design is about human intentions that generate value. But we found that building schools which could train people, like we built a school for the bamboo craftsmen. We were looking at bamboo in India, in the northeast of India, where there's a lot of poverty. And what can you make? Hundreds of things. With imagination, you can figure out more. Which means you can make from rocking horses to houses. And that was wonderful, because we actually talked about how do you redesign the curriculum to make it a design curriculum and also expand their, we called it cognitive expansion. That is, expand their worldview so that they can actually walk into a bank and say, I am, capable of doing something, of being an entrepreneur, and you need to look at me differently. As architects, as people who are working in the city, in the country, we take upon ourselves the responsibility of creating a better world. We built this Institute of Craft and Design, and I think it is gratifying to see that there's at least one school in the country that is addressing the needs of this huge craft sector. Design as a profession, design as a discipline, first of all needs to completely dismantle itself and reconfigure what it considers its domain completely. And only then will we be able to really affect real change within India.